Supercars are the pinnacle of admiration in the car enthusiast community. Unfortunately, many of them are just seen as status symbols and are owned by non-car enthusiasts. However, for us car enthusiasts, we've probably just been looking in the wrong places, as there are many companies that are willing to take the necessary risks and sacrifices possible to make their cars more affordable to the general public. So why aren't these cars driven by the general public then? Well, because these cars I'm about to talk about expect us to take the same risk and sacrifices, but as car enthusiasts, we are willing and prepared to do so. Keep in mind, when I say cheap, I'm still talking about someone who makes at least a $40,000 yearly salary, with maintenance in mind, because these cars buying is not the only thing you need to be worried about. But fret not, if you are a high schooler watching this video, every penny you save does count, and buying a supercar is honestly something that you need to be very serious about from the start, and it can actually be an accomplishable lifelong goal. The first car I'm going to be talking about is the Factory 5 GTM. The Factory 5 GTM can be found for as low as $48,000 in many auto trading websites, but it averages around $60,000. This is a very fair price. However, if you wish to build one yourself, the kit only starts around $24,000. But, however, you'll need to buy another car, which is a C5 fixed roof Corvette, as this is the donor car for this. I promise you, not every car on this list will be a donor car. In fact, this is the only car on this list that requires a donor car. Now, the car's kit does not come with paint, wheels, tires, or an engine. The car does feature a 5-speed Porsche transaxle, which is a manual transmission. Now, if you ask me, that's something you should be ready to put up with. Another thing that you have to be willing to make as a sacrifice is the car doesn't really have any storage space. The only storage space it has is some space underneath the passenger footwell. The rear window does open up, so you can make a makeshift trunk, but that's assuming your engine's small enough to deal with that. Many of these cars do feature LS1 or LS6 engines due to the fact that the donor car, comes with those engines. However, it is very easily and oftentimes engine swapped for LS7s or other Chevy-related engines. The car does only weigh 2,400 pounds though, so given 345 horsepower, 505 horsepower, however much horsepower you want the dang thing to have, you're going to get a rocket, because that is extremely lightweight, considering that something like a Mazda Miata actually weighs more than this car. Yeah, put that into perspective. Now, understand that this car also doesn't have ABS traction or traction control, and because it's only so lightweight due to the omission of a lot of safety features, but hopefully that's something you're prepared for. And as for how this bad boy sounds and drives, here's a clip. The next car that I'll be talking about is the RCR SLC. You can find finished running examples for around $62,000, but most of them will put you around the $80,000 mark. However, if you have skill and time on your hands, consider building one yourself. The kit starts at $44,000 and it doesn't require a donor car. The kit gives you everything you need except for paint, wheels, tires, and engine or transmission. However, the car is very versatile and can support many types of engine platforms, from the very well-known LS to a Ford Coyote. The car doesn't have any storage space other than underneath the passenger footwell, and the rear window doesn't exactly open up, so you can't really make a makeshift trunk in the back of this one like you can with the GTM. But once again, it's a sacrifice you should be willing to make. The car doesn't feature traction control or ABS either, but that can also be installed. The car only weighs 2,200 pounds when completely built and finished, which is an extremely light car. The car does have a lot of racing heritage, as RCR themselves have been in the racing industry for some time now. That in itself is all you can ask of a supercar. Great heritage, good 90s race car nostalgia styling, and honestly some exclusivity and great performance. The SLC is definitely an unsung hero, and oftentimes a car that's overlooked for its price. This car can easily take it to $1 million cars for something that costs less than $100,000. The next car on this list is for all the British viewers. This car is the Ultimate GTR, and some of you may have come to already know this car through its featuring in many games such as Forza Horizon. The Ultimate GTR is Not as versatile as the RCR SLC or the Factory 5 GTM. It is limited to only accepting transmissions from the Porsche G50, 996, or 997 transaxle. It can only use Chevy LS engines. So if you're looking to build one of these cars, I would definitely recommend you look elsewhere. If you're someone who wants a lot more choice, or if you're a Ford fanboy, then definitely this car is going to force you into a corner with the whole LS thing. You can find finished models of this car. By finished models, I mean complete running models. So if you're not someone who's willing to build this car, fret not, as they're as low as $59,000, and many of them average around $70,000. For something that's sub 100 grand, you get a car that once again has a great power to weight ratio and extreme track performance and track heritage. However, in my opinion, this car doesn't quite have the aggressive styling that the SLC or GTM does. It's a lot smaller than the latter, which for someone in Britain, that's perfectly fine because you guys have smaller roads. However, for us spoiled Americans, we're loud and proud and we want large, giant, wide-stanced cars that really are head turners. Not just head turners for how beautiful they are, but for head turners when you're constantly passing people as they turn their head as you pass by. The next car on this list is for all the JDM lovers out there. A used Nissan GTR will run for around $60,000. For example, a 2014 Black Edition here in the United States only costs around $65,000. For a car with a carbon fiber spoiler, 3.8 liter twin turbo V6 that puts out 545 horsepower, that's all-wheel drive, that's really good for its price. If not, you're getting a steal actually. You're getting a car that more or less is capable of all weather, and because of its nice trunk space and rear seats, you're getting a car of decent utility. And yeah, I know this car is mainstream, it's overrated, but at the same time, that's exactly why I'm putting it in this video. Not just to make sure the JDM fanboys are happy, but also because I want to bring to light that not all supercars need to be balls to the walls extreme. The GTR is more humble in the sense that you can still go shopping with this car, you can still take friends out in this car, well, if they're comfortable cramming in the back seat that is, but other than that, this is the car that you can involve your life with, and that's honestly something that is important when it comes to driving a supercar, because that's the difference of it becoming a status symbol or something that actually is loved. Cars are meant to be driven, and the GTR embodies that logic. Sure, it's an all-wheel drive automatic car, and that may not have much love in it according to most people, but I dare to argue against that because it's all up to preference, and even though I'm an intense car enthusiast myself, and I definitely want to say stick life, I mean, shifting may be life, but at the end of the day, I can't hate someone for not wanting to choose that decision. So regardless, I definitely have a lot of respect for the Nissan GTR and its capability. The final car in this list is a very well-known American car that's important to America's racing heritage. The car is featured in ridiculous amounts of media and ridiculous amounts of video games, but nonetheless and undisputably, I definitely respect the car, and I will argue against anyone that it is a supercar. That car is none other than the Dodge Viper. You thought I was going to say Chevy Corvette, didn't you? Well, I didn't. That would just be a total cop-out. The Dodge Viper can be found for as low as $38,000. However, this car isn't exactly a car for just about anyone. The Dodge Viper warms my heart in the sense that it's a car that oftentimes falls in the hands of car enthusiasts. They're hardly seen on the road, and the only reason people buy them is because they're prepared to put up with them. They're anything but a status symbol. They don't feature traction control, they don't feature ABS, not the older models at least, and they're always manual transmission, and that's the only transmission they come in. That's insane. Given, like I said, I don't hate the automatic, I think it took a lot of courage for Dodge to keep selling a car that only came in manual. With a giant displacement V10, the car not only boasted America's loud and proud, no replacement for displacement car culture mindset, but the car itself was just a continuation of that bold mindset that Dodge had. The Viper was not forgiving to those who wanted to buy it as some prissy, aristocratic demonstration of their wealth. It was meant for the car enthusiasts and built for the car enthusiasts, and it has been a lifelong goal and in possession of those of car enthusiasts. It is a supercar, in my opinion, that I feel like should be well known by car enthusiasts and should be loved by us, and I want it to continue to be passed down through our hands to each other and to one another. So if you can, and if you are someone who loves a Dodge Viper, make sure to buy a used one. Even though they're discontinued, their prices may go up, but don't let that scare you, because maybe if we buy them enough, maybe Dodge will understand why we loved it so much, and maybe they'll actually bring it back, because I personally don't want this thing to be discontinued forever, because I think the legacy the Viper left behind is something that's irreplaceable to American culture. The car is definitely a childhood favorite of mine, and ultimately it is my dream car as well. Honestly, the Factory 5 GTM has swayed my heart a little bit, but at the end of the day, the Viper was the car that I would always use in Gran Turismo 2. It was the car I used in every game I played. It was the car that had a whole bunch of ridiculous